You're watching us live in Buea in the southwest region of Cameroon. It is time for the news here on DBS Television. We begin with the headlines. The head of state, President Paul Biya and wife, extend a hand of fellowship to some victims of Boko Haram attacks in the far north region. The presidential gifts were handed to the affected population by the far north regional governor. Cameroon joins the international community today to commemorate World Environment Day. Activities this year are centered on beating plastic pollution, thereby making a call for individuals to take care of the environment. And in education, students in the French subsystem of education began the 2018 edition of BEPC today nationwide. The examination began with strict measures being taken to preempt any idea of fraud and exams malpractices here in Douala. Details of these stories and more up next in the news. Please do not go away. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this primetime edition of the news here on DBS Television this 5th day of June 2018. We begin the news in the far north region, where the President Paul Biya and wife Chantal have dispatched some material and financial aid to the affected population of some recent Boko Haram attacks in the far north region. The consignment were handed over to the people recently by far north Governor Mijiyawa Bakari. Philip Sote reports.
A timely gift to the populations of Asigasia, Mozogo, Tamalasali and Turu, among others. Gifts consisting of bags of rice, maize, sorghum, washing soap, cooking oil and salt. Beyond that, these material gifts were accompanied by a 70 million francs envelope to help the population in some form of settlement and recovery from recent Boko Haram attacks. Attacks in January and February that resulted in burning of houses, killings and looting. The presidential couple were particularly touched by the situation and thus dispatched Far North Governor Mijiyawa Bakari to hand over these consignments with a reassurance to the people that government was concerned with the plight of the displaced persons. It was a visibly satisfied population who received their packages with much gratitude to the presidential couple, saying it was a gesture that will go a long way to restoring life among the affected victims. A population that have been living the trauma of having witnessed their loved ones butchered, their cattle carted away, homes gone in flames, and they are now compelled to live like dependent persons. Boko Haram incursions in the far north region have considerably diminished following the deployment of a multinational force in that region that has been multiplying efforts to eliminate the insurgents. The populations have thus been called upon to collaborate with the forces in their fight against Boko Haram.
In education, like we heard in the lead stories, the written part of the BEPC examination has kick-started in centers across the country. In some accommodation centers here in Douala, strict control measures were taken in order to prevent exam malpractices. Ate Bonaventure was our eyes and ears in these accommodation centers and now reports.
Part of the brevet d'études du premier cycle BEPC examination has kicked off in most centers in Douala under tight security and the strict control of candidates. It's 7:30 a.m. at Saint Michel College Accommodation Center. The students are systematically searched to ensure that they don't enter the examination hall with cheating materials. While the control is going on, some students seize the opportunity to complete their writing material from roadside vendors. It is a similar exercise at Government High School Aqua, where even shoes are scanned. After the rigorous control, it's now time for real business. The candidates concentrate on their papers under the supervision of various superintendents assigned for the exam. The regional delegate for secondary education, Henri Delors Soso, made a tour to the various centers to ensure that everything was going on hitch-free.
Tout semble bien se passer, pas de problème.
A few absences were recorded in some centers, and the various chiefs of center are certain that despite the little ups and downs that characterized the first day, the exercise will continue according to the directives of the Baccalaureate Board. BAPC, it should be noted, is the equivalence of the GCE ordinary level in the English subsystem of education.
Still in education, the Catholic Education Agency of the Archdiocese of Douala has launched its maiden Education Week, in which extracurricular activities take central stage. The week-long activities will culminate with celebrations of the Day of the African Child. We have details in this report. The Catholic Education Week, coming at the end of the academic year, is an opportunity for these nation builders to move out from the conventional teaching-learning situation to giving credence to the old English adage that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
It's aimed at selling the image of Catholic education, which is the model of education in Cameroon, par excellence, for the children trying to harness their talents and valorizing them. Because now here, you can discover that a school like Saint Sacrament has very talented children in sports. And if the various people who are selecting children were around, they would have been able to pick up the ones who are there. And the parents of the children should be able now to identify that this child could do something better.
Coincidentally, this edition kicks off with the 43rd finals of the Bishop's Cup that began in the beginning of the year in the primary section. The finals that pitched Saint Louis 3 versus Saint Bruno in handball, with Saint Louis crushing Saint Bruno 4-1, emerging champions in handball. Saint Sacrament took Notre Dame de cette Douleur in football, defeating them 3-0, and succeeded in maintaining the championship for 2 consecutive years. This is just the kickoff that will culminate with the celebration of the Day of the African Child on the 9th of June. Adopting the learner-centric approach in their pedagogy, these teachers on their part are not abandoned. Their well-being and especially their spiritual lives are equally taken care of by the hierarchy.
The aim is to be sure that the teachers are living a saint life, that is a holistic life, that spiritually they are also healthy. Because as far as the other things are, they are taken care of, but the spiritual part of it they have to follow up.
And so a collective marriage of these teachers has been organized to give them an opportunity to regularize their marital situations before God and man, an event which will take place in the month of July during the end of academic year mass. This is an extension of the holistic formation which, according to Reverend Father Alain Desire Amasola Douala, the Catholic Education Secretary for the Archdiocese of Douala, is bent at promoting. June 5th, World Environment Day. It is another platform for the world to awaken to the fight against plastic pollution. Raul Ule Abia says the strive this year is focused on beat plastic pollution, a call for individuals to take charge of their surroundings and realize the dangers of using plastics. Her report.
It is said to be drowning in plastic waste. It is choking the ocean and smothering nature, threatening marine life and the well-being of our creatures, with studies confirming that humans are ingesting thousands of microplastic particles year after year. What all of this is doing has become a subject of increasing public concern and scrutiny. According to findings, about 13 million tons of plastic is said to leak into the oceans, and there is fear that there will be more plastic in the waters than fish by 2050. This if drastic measures are not taken to move away from disposable plastic culture. Unfortunately, the use of plastic seems to have become indispensable, as it is used from milk to water to juices. For every conceivable consumer product is packaged in plastic bags. Although some think nothing is done, just a week-long media campaign, then back to business, it is worth noting that the 193 member countries of the United Nations have agreed to start monitoring the amount of plastic that is put in the ocean, exploring ways to make it illegal to dump waste in the seas. Countries around the world, Cameroon inclusive, have been adopting policies and measures to curb the use of plastic, thus the pollution. To notice, Cameroonian environmental activists have been on the field against plastic bags since 2014, placing a ban on producers importers and marketers of non-biodegradable plastic bags that are less than 60 micron thick. Violators are expected to face between 2 and 10 years of imprisonment and a fine of up to 10 million francs CFA. But the law seems to be facing some challenges because of a flourishing black market for plastic bags and the lack of affordable alternatives. With a changing consumer attitude on plastics and increasing anger over plastic pollution, restrictions and prohibitions on the use are expected to increase in the days ahead. While the world is moving towards a plastic-free future, 2018 World Environment Day calls on individuals to beat plastic pollution.
And we still talk some philanthropic gesture here. The Muslim community in Douala II municipality have received some foodstuffs from the National Muslim Youth Alliance. Seka Zubairatu tells us that these gifts are to help these Muslims go through their fasting period. Her reports.
Gathered in Nobel neighborhood today in Douala II subdivision was the National Alliance of Young Muslims who have had the initiative to donate foodstuff to Muslim community. This association was created since 2002 and has an objective to fight against poverty, help the graduates in the job market, and equally propagate peace and security. Their weapon is prayers, most especially during this period in the country. Reason for these assorted gifts is to help Muslims during the Ramadan period to effectively carry out their pilgrimage. The importance of choosing Ramadan is to
within this month is a month of Ramadan, and within the month of Ramadan, usually we are sharing. It's a month of charity. It's a month of generosity. But this is an IGMC choosing this month to share with Muslims a lot of things, especially rice and sugar, and what they can what can help them to fast very well.
The ceremony was attended by the administrative authorities, traditional dynasties, as well as the inhabitants of Nobel neighborhood who came out in their numbers. These gifts were given to
they choose Muslims and other poor people to help them and to assist them in this holy month of Ramadan.
And evaluated to the sum of about 5 million francs CFA. All Cameroonians were called to continue praying for peace and security since the country is politically and psychologically unstable. Sharing of the gifts ended the ceremony.
We talk some other news. A customer is a king in every business, and it is with this in mind that the Nextel Cameroon recently organized a health campaign in Monatele in the Center region. The campaign was aimed at providing free consultation and medication to her customers in particular and the local population in general. Staff Lady Wamba Tansi Mirabel tells us more in this report.
Even the heavy rains could not perturb Nextel Cameroon from accomplishing its 2-day mission in the Center region, a mission in the Monatele subdivision, which is one of ensuring good health for all, especially to their customers. The communication giant is not only concerned with the selling and buying of goods, but also to ensure that these customers are strong and healthy, because a customer is always the king.
We need also some time to congratulate and to give award to those of our customers who get confidence to Nextel and who are using our services.
An initiative, according to the regional director of the center, is not only limited to this part of the country, but nationwide, which is also aimed at assisting government to ensure the well-being of the populace.
Nextel is a national company, and within our activity, we are doing in the social area because we need to support government in its politics.
The healthcare program dispatched health personnel to examine, consult and distribute free medications to patients suffering from different ailments. A gesture which was applauded by the mayor of Monatele as he saluted Nextel and referred to them as friends in need, and indeed.
In our Discovery page tonight, Kenzo is a locality in the East region on the frontier with Central African Republic. The inhabitants here are generally traders or animal breeders, as we will see in the paper that follows by Jalo Buba.
The people in this locality of Kenzu in the Kadei division lives a life of theirs, with each person struggling for daily survival. Situated on the border with Central African Republic, is said to have about 30,000 inhabitants, including huge number of refugees from Central African Republic, some of whom have voluntarily returned to their country. Kenzu, located about 115 kilometers from its divisional headquarters, enjoys some minimum basic necessities like boreholes as its main source of potable water. The one-time locality flourishing with commerce has been witnessing a decline in commercial transactions due to the political crisis in its neighboring country. To make the matter a little more complicated is the absence of a bridge on the Kadei River, which is gradually slowing down movements and business activities. Little canoes carry people and their goods with all the risk involved to get to the other side of the river. Animal husbandry appeared to be one of the major economic activities which occupy the local population. One of the big cries of the population of Kenzu is to see a bridge constructed on the river Kadei, which seems calm but dangerous, especially during rainy season. The population of Kenzu is said to be made up of people who have come from all the four corners of Cameroon, and they are all living in peace and harmony.
In our cultural page tonight, La Cotier Dance School has organized a press conference this Tuesday, bringing together men and women of the media to announce the Coastal Dance Gala dinner that will hold Saturday, 9th of June in Douala Castle Hall. This event that has been ongoing for 17 years, being a multitask show, will be characterized with hip-hop, jazz and contemporary African dances. Our reporter Vanessa took interest and now reports.
The School of Dance La Coutier has organized a press conference in prelude to the end of the year party, the Coastal Dance Gala dinner, that will hold on Saturday the 9th in Douala. This event will host a number of choreographies that will be presented under the theme The Way to Life, in the French acronym Le Chemin de la Vie. Students of La Coutier Dance School will show proof of their artistic dancing skills and other contemporary African dance to beautify the event.
Every style of dance, ballet, contemporary, modern jazz, some hip-hop also. And we really wait for people to be there to see it because we are really happy to show it.
The objective is
to exchange our dance with their dance. So we're gonna do some exchange with a local company there during the week.
In a freestyle, Margali Malin, a choreographer, and her dance group have the objective to bring the best out of them, these artistic movements to be a profession of passion.
To mix every influence she has here and in France. And that's why she did the company. She wanted to do something blend because we couldn't find it actually. And so the company born there, and that's why she born. And so from there we evolved, and now I think we are kind of attend a new place for our dance, very mixed.
The organizers of the event made their way into the country last Saturday to prepare for the event. Grace Malin tells us that preparation have gone 90%. The ceremony that will be held on the 9th will eventually be braced with karate and live shows, an event which will hold under the patronage of the government delegate to the Douala City Council, Fritz Tonentone.
And with that cultural news, we move out of the country to talk about foreign news, and this time we talk in Nigeria. The fallout from the Boko Haram insurgency is still being felt across parts of northeast region in many areas, including education sector, with many school-age children still out of school. To encourage education, especially girl child, a number of schoolgirls have been awarded scholarships from the Medical Women Association in northeast of Nigeria. We have details courtesy of our VOA correspondent in Nigeria.
One of the challenges of dealing with the aftermath of the Boko Haram insurgency is fixing the damage done to critical sectors such as healthcare and education in terms of infrastructure and school enrollment, especially for girls. For a region where enrollment for the girl child has been low, the violence has made the situation worse. And the reasons are not far-fetched: fear of attacks and lack of funds. A scholarship award to 100 schoolgirls in Adamawa State aims to enable them continue their education. The organization behind the gesture says the beneficiaries were chosen from worst-hit areas.
They selected these girls from not the whole of Adamawa State, but from all the parts that are worst hit by the insurgency in the northern part of the state. That's all the 5 local governments of Mubi North, Mubi South, Maiha, Michika, and Madagali, and the host communities, Yola North, Yola South, Fufo, Repong, and Gombe. And of course, we had to extend to our sister local governments, just a few of them in Demsa and Shelem. The criteria was strictly based on if the child is either that of a widow or a child of an IDP or that sort of status.
Female activists believe women all over the world are up against unique challenges, but they also believe these are surmountable.
Of course, in political representation, we have a lot of our women who are senators. We are believing God that we will soon have a female governor and a female president in Nigeria. Of course, education reduces poverty. Like I keep saying, I am one example. Today, by the grace of God, the poverty I am coming from or I came from is no longer the same. You can change your family line. You can change your destiny. You can change your community, and you can change this nation.
There are many more who, want to benefit from this, but because of the funds available, just 100, have been able to be picked. So you should count yourselves lucky to be amongst them. Your parents are not going to have to go through any stress about you going to school. So now it is just you and you alone to dedicate your time and your effort. You don't have anything to think about, to study hard and come out with flying colors so that you also, become gainfully employed and be of service to humanity.
The scholarship is designed for orphans, displaced children, and others from poor families to provide support and opportunity for the girl child to realize her potential.
It is with that news, ladies and gentlemen, that we come to the end of this edition of the Primetime News here on DBS Television. In news in which we heard about the head of state, President Paul Biya, and wife, who extended a hand of fellowship to those victims of Boko Haram attacks in the far north region. We equally spoke about Cameroon joining the international community today to commemorate World Environment Day with activities this year centered on beating plastic pollution. We equally heard about students in the French subsystem of education who began the 2018 edition of BEPC today nationwide. The examination began with strict control to avoid any examination fraud. It was our pleasure that you made time to be part of us in this edition of the news. The next newscast will be coming up at 9 p.m. with Luke Serge Didier Nang. As for me, we will be together again tomorrow at the same time for what would have made news. Until then, good night.